Are you curious about what an executor cannot do? Executor problems with beneficiaries? That's our subject today, and we'll get started right after this. Hello, I'm KimWard, real estate broker in beautiful San Diego, California, and expert at helping executors, administrators, and trustees with homes in probate or trust. And today we're talking about what an executor cannot do, executor problems with beneficiaries. Being named in someone's will as the executor, the person to handle and settle up the estate matters, it sounds like a great honor. And it is, because the person that passed away believes that you have the ability to collect the assets, to settle the debts, to file estate tax returns where necessary, and distribute the assets, and finally close the estate. A probate executor of an estate has a host of responsibilities. They range from notifying the heirs and all the way to managing the assets. But an executor's authority is not endless. There are limits of what an executor can and cannot do. The executor begins his role by communicating his position to the beneficiaries, financial institutions, and any known creditors. The court gives the executor the right to act on the decedent's behalf. The executor is also responsible for managing the estate's assets. The executor can liquidate any assets to pay the bills of the estate. If you've been named an executor, a couple basic rules of thumb are that you can't do anything that disregards the provisions set in the will, and you can't act against the interests of any of the beneficiaries. That sounds pretty straightforward. Sometimes it is, but depending on the complexity of the estate, figuring out your role, your responsibilities as an executor could be challenging. An executor's job is to secure the assets of the estate and then distribute those assets according to the deceased person's wishes, as set in the will. In some families, heirs may descend on the decedent's home even before the funeral. They are cherry-picking the heirlooms and other valuables. A better way to handle that situation is to secure the home and the other assets as quickly as possible. Then inform the heirs that this is the law, and also share information about the decedent's wishes with the heirs. We'll get into what you can't do, but first, let's make sure you're clear on what you can and sometimes must do. As the executor of an estate, you are responsible for managing the probate process, which means you'll be interacting with the probate court, typically through your attorney, and making all the decisions about handling the probate assets. You and your attorney will open probate with the court. You will identify the deceased person's assets. You will provide notice to all the heirs and all the interested parties. You will manage the administration of the estate, and that would include preparing, marketing, and selling the decedent's home. You will pay the decedent's debt from the estate, distribute funds or property to the heirs, and eventually close the estate. Carrying out all these duties means that you will make many decisions about what happens with the estates, since you're managing the decedent's property and their assets until they are distributed to the heirs. The executor has the final say on all matters, but as we stated above, there are limits. So let's get into what an executor cannot do. So as an executor, you have what's called a fiduciary duty to the beneficiaries of the estate. And what that means to you is that you must manage the estate and take care with all the assets. So you cannot do anything that intentionally harms the interests of the beneficiaries. You cannot take any action to manage the estate prior to being appointed as executor by the court. You also cannot sell any of the assets for less than market value without agreement of the beneficiaries. For instance, by offering your friends or family a discount on any of the personal property. That would be in direct opposition to your duty. You also cannot change any provisions in the will. That seems self-explanatory, but that's what it is. And you cannot stop the beneficiaries or the heirs from contesting the will. Mismanaging an estate has consequences. If an heir or beneficiary believes you are not appropriately fulfilling your legal obligations, they have the right to file a petition with the probate court to get a full accounting of the estate's assets or to have you removed as executor. Of course, most individuals who serve as executors take their responsibilities very seriously and they handle the estate with care. One of the biggest drawbacks to being an executor is the great amount of time it takes to properly handle all the responsibilities. For example, think of all the time involved in contacting various government agencies such as Social Security to stop any Social Security payments from coming, contacting the IRS or the state tax authorities for income tax and death tax matters, handling the personal property plus selling the house. A good probate attorney may help with some of the responsibilities with taxes and Social Security benefits and dealing with the courts, and a good real estate agent can help simplify the process of preparing, marketing, and successfully selling the decedent's home. So I hope you found this of value. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, put some comments or questions below, and subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to be notified of my weekly videos and you wouldn't want to miss any of them, just hit the bell button. Thank you. I'll see you next week.